Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream happening every Thursday now at 4 o'clock instead of 3. So we are here live, and if you are watching on Facebook, five or different pages, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can actually comment. I can see your comments and put them on the screen, and you're part of the conversation. So this is meant to be a two-way street, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I'm your host, Leslie Klein. And, today is a very special day because we are coming upon some astrological things very soon. And so let's get right into the astrological news of the day. We are actually in the phase of the moon. We had the full moon last week on the 10th. So when we go from the full moon to the new moon, that's considered the waning sign of the moon or the waning phase of the moon. So this is when things that came to fruition around the full moon are now getting integrated and assimilated. The harvest, is being the crops are being harvested and processed and things like that. So our next new moon will happen on July 24th, just in about a week's time, and it's in the sign of Leo, and it happens exactly at 3:11 p.m. But the big news that I have for you is that Mercury is going retrograde starting really tonight. It's tomorrow morning at 12:44 a.m. Eastern Time, and will be retrograde until August 11th at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time as well. So Mercury retrograde, just like the moon goes into different astrological signs, so do the planets. And so Mercury retrograde will be happening in the sign of Leo, and that emphasizes creative expression, image, and personal confidence. So the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, are going to feel this Mercury retrograde the most. And the other astrological factor that's involved here is that Neptune and Saturn are both in retrograde signs as well. So we're kind of in this time of a cosmic pause button. Neptune retrograde has to do with spiritual decluttering, and Saturn retrograde has to do with structural rebuilding. So when Mercury goes retrograde, the best thing to do is not start new projects, not travel if you can avoid it, but really work on things that begin with the letters re, like review, refinance, anything with re where you're going back over existing projects and not starting new ones. And I've actually got some tips today for you to manage this Mercury retrograde. So, as I said, Mercury is the planet of communication and travel. So, when it goes retrograde, it looks like in the Earth that the planet's going backwards, but it really isn't. It's more of an optical illusion. But because it rules communication and travel, it does have an impact of kind of having issues that basically the energy of that Mercury planet is not forward. It's kind of going backwards, kind of backpedaling. And so this is a better time to reflect and return to things rather than to initiate, like I said. So here are some tips to manage this retrograde more smoothly. The first one is to double check your travel plans, double check your tech, like computers and things like that, and also any paperwork. It's recommended normally that on Mercury retrogrades, you do not want to sign paperwork if you can avoid it. Because unless you need it, if you want to do it for strategy purposes, because anything you do sign or start during a Mercury retrograde, more than likely you're going to have to redo it after the Mercury goes direct. And again, that Mercury does go direct on August 11th, early in the morning, 3:30 a.m. So you do not, if you can avoid it, don't sign paperwork or sign any papers, start any new project until August 11th, after 3:30 in the morning. And what else did I want to say about that? It'll come to me. So when you are, so like if you were getting into a contract that you didn't really want to do or you weren't happy with, yeah, sign it during the Mercury retrograde, and more than likely you're going to have to redo it anyway. So if that's a strategy you need, that's one way to use it. But normally avoid it. But if you do have paperwork or things, because life happens, we still have to move forward. We can't just like hide in a cave. What you want to do is double check everything. Just do that double check to avoid problems. The second point or tip is to avoid launching new projects or signing big deals, like I said as well. New projects, you don't want to start big, especially big, any kind of big deals of Mercury retrograde. If you can avoid it, it's not always, possible. Oh, and I have a message from Melinda Beach. She says, good afternoon and stay blessed. And same to you, Melinda. Thank you so much for watching. Let me take that comment off. So avoid launching new projects or signing big deals. The third tip is to use this energy to reflect, reorganize, and reconnect with past ideas. Again, anything with re in it is a good thing to do during a Mercury retrograde. The way I look at it, and these Mercury retrogrades happen 3 to 4 times a year, and they last about 3 to 3.5 weeks. I think this one's almost over 3 weeks long. So this is a time to kind of backpedal, tie up loose ends on projects. If they're back burner projects that you haven't finished, this is the time to do that. So Mercury retrograde is really kind of a catch-up time for all of us on whatever project or thing that you're working on. And the fourth tip is to stay patient, to back up important files, and to speak clearly. It's really important if we know that people have a tendency to miscommunicate during a Mercury retrograde. Double check, do the active listening where you say something and ask the person if they understood it, or if they're talking to you, you repeat what they're saying to say, I understand that, you mean blah, 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 blah. So active listening is really a great thing to practice during a Mercury retrograde to avoid, miscommunications, because that's just the tendency of this energy. So again, Mercury is going retrograde tomorrow morning early, 12:44 a.m. Eastern time until August 11th. So this is something that I would definitely, be aware of and, act accordingly. You've been warned. All right, so let's talk now about UFO and UAP disclosure. So we were supposed to have these public hearings, according to Representative Luna, sometime this month of July. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Matt Laszlo, who is with Ask a Poll, like Ask a Politician, he asked her about when the next hearings are going to be, and it looks like it probably will happen in September because they're having issues. They want to have at least, I think, 4 whistleblowers, and these whistleblowers, get threatened by the agencies and things that they work for. So they didn't have anyone that were willing to testify before Congress. And the legislation is not there to protect the whistleblowers yet fully. And but after that interview, apparently one of the UFO whistleblowers did say, yes, I will go forward and testify. And she's looking for people that have firsthand knowledge, not, second and third hand knowledge. They want firsthand people, witnesses to either ET craft or ET bodies or the program, this kind of thing. So it looks like it's going to happen more than likely in September. Representative Burchett is saying like September 1st, but I think that's a holiday weekend with Labor Day. So yeah, so that's going on. And if you did see the World UFO Day program that I did a couple of weeks ago on July 2nd, we are going to be doing a follow-up one, another kind of panel discussion with the Citizens for Disclosure state leaders in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure if it's going to be the end of July or beginning of August, but it will be coming up and may become like a monthly kind of discussion about all of this ET information beyond just the legislation. But right now, the legislation is very important, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So we did have a big meeting with all the state leaders and the president of the New Paradigm Institute, and I will give you that link right there. And so Danny, being the president of the New Paradigm Institute, had a meeting with us this past Sunday. If you were a volunteer for Citizens for Disclosure, you were invited to attend. But if not, I got you. I actually edited out a clip. Now, in this clip, he's talking about 4 different dimensions or 4 different areas of disclosure and defines them. And I think this is really important to know. So for right now, I'm going to play this clip. It's going to be about 7 minutes long, but it really has good information. He's only going to talk about the first 2 dimensions. Next week, I will cover the 3rd and 4th dimensions. So this is very interesting information. And again, please, if you have questions or comments during the segment, please go ahead and put them there. And here is Danny Sheehan, president of the New Paradigm Institute.
This thing for us again, because there's so many pieces of information flying around, so many different activities going on, so much organizing going on. What I want to do is I want to talk about the fact that this particular issue, which is the UFO phenomenon and the potential extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional, whatever the origin is of the beings that are piloting these craft, and coming and going from our planet, this has actually 4 different dimensions to it. I'll 4 dimensions to begin with, and then kind of give some details of each one, so people can determine which dimension you want to ask questions about. Okay. Now the first dimension of the 4 is the public hearings, that we're working to try to get public hearings and public revelation of all of the information that all 6 of our United States military services, that's Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Space Force, all of them that we know are operational now. All 6 of our military services have got information about this. As do all 18 of our intelligence agencies. People keep thinking about just the CIA and the National Security Agency or the Defense Intelligence Agency, but there's actually 18 different intelligence agencies that our United States government has. And they're in possession of important information about these phenomena, calling it the UFO phenomenon and the sort of the ET occupants and the source of this phenomena. So that's the question as to the public revelation and the public hearings dimension that we're all working on and that we want to talk about. The second, of course, is the legislation. And the legislation, of course, are a means by which we're going to try to get to the disclosure. And do it through the public hearings where the information will be released. And the legislation is going on both in the Senate and in the House. Extraordinarily important reality that we're all working with is the fact that the powers that be have all resolved that the United States Senate is taking the leadership in this issue and has set forth this 64-page bill that I'm sure you're all basically familiar with. And it's available right on our website. It's the 64-page bill, which is the UFO or UAP Controlled Disclosure Act. And we know that Senate bill has resolved that at the level of power of the United States Senate, they have decided that they want to undertake the disclosure, the alleged full disclosure of all of the information that every one of these agencies, including all 32 of the United States Defense Department agencies, and also every single one of the private aerospace corporations that has been commissioned to work UFO issue. Okay, that all of these people are commanded by this 64-page bill to gather together every single piece of information that they've ever acquired since January 1st of 1945 and gather it all together to put it in a digital format with a searchable index and turn that over to the National Archives. And it'll go into the national security section of the National Archives, and therefore be available to the members of Congress, which is extraordinarily important. We all know that that's a major feature of this bill. Now, that much of the bill has actually been approved by the House of Representatives, so that has become law. The present state of law is that all of these military services and intelligence agencies and Defense Department agencies are under order from the United States Congress, signed by the President of the United States, to gather all of this information together and stand by to prepare to turn it over to the National Archives. We've achieved that to date. Now, we haven't gotten them to turn it over. The Senate bill mandated that they turn it over immediately on October 20th of 2024. And they didn't do it because the House of Representatives, in the 23 pages of the 64-page Senate bill, which they passed, they changed the language to allow the agencies to turn that over as soon as possible, but not immediately. And so that they took the opportunity of going to the National Archives director and getting her to give them a 1-year extension before they have to reveal this, which is now scheduled for October 20th, basically, of this coming year, right? The year that we're in right now, okay? So that whole Senate bill is the kind of centerpiece of the legislative agenda that's going on. Now, we have a second item, which of course is the Enhanced UFO Whistleblower Protection Act, that we were asked by the House of Representatives to draft this bill. Our New Paradigm Institute has drafted it, and it is the most aggressive statute protecting uniquely UFO whistleblowers. Not every single whistleblower in the entire federal government, and not even every employee inside the national security agencies that have these unique non-disclosure agreements, but specifically focused on UFO people, the UFO disclosure whistleblowers, because this is such a uniquely important area. We have proposed a piece of legislation that will provide unique protection for these UFO whistleblowers. So that's the second aspect of the major legislation that we're engaged in. Now, of course, the legislation is directly connected to the public hearings. So a lot of the public hearings are being held in order to muster support among the population to support the public release of all of the information. So that's these legislative bills, the 64-page bill that originates in the Senate, and the UFO whistleblower protection statute that originates in the House. These are the two features of our legislative agenda, which is the second dimension of the four.
And let me come back on stage here. So that's what's going on. Nice if I got my buttons right. Sorry about that. All right, so that's all about the Citizens for Disclosure and the meeting that we have. I'm going to play part 2 of his presentation where he talks about the third and fourth dimensions, which are even more interesting. But if you want to get involved with the New Paradigm Institute, that is the website. And this week, it's very important. Let me see if I can share my screen so you can actually see. I want you to see this website. And is it going to share? Let's see. I want to share this website. I'm not sure if it's working. Let's see. Share screen. There we go. Share. Okay. So let me take this off of here. So when you go to that website, this is what you'll see, and it is full screen here. And what you want to do is go to Take Action. And this is what's really important this week, because on Friday, there's some things happening, deadlines happening regarding this UAPDA, which is the Disclosure Act. So what they have on here, normally, of course, you can sign up for the newsletter, and that's free, and that'll get you'll get the weekly letters from Danny Sheehan as to what's really going on. They're very careful to vet the information, because, if you Google information on YouTube and look for what's happening, it's a lot of hearsay. And these guys, New Paradigm Institute, are very thorough in, first of all, they're the ones leading the cause as far as the congressional hearings and the legislation, because Danny is a constitutional lawyer. He was involved with Iran-Contra and the White House, not the White House, the Watergate, and the big cases like that. But what you do here is there's 5 different calls, and you actually are going to call the different Congress people. So you put your name on here, and then you'll get a phone call back, and it'll connect you the switchboard, and it's all the information's here on the left. And there'll be a script that you'll see on this side here when you fill it out. I've already done this week. And so this is really a great way if you want to practice your activism to do. So there's a call 2, call 3, and call 4, and then call 5. So by making these phone calls, it makes a huge difference. So if you're able to do this, please do. It feels very empowering, because this is being part of the democratic process. So share that with you and get back here on the screen. Now, speaking of spiritual activism, today's a very special day, because it is the anniversary of Congressman John Lewis. He was a congressman and civil rights activist for many years, and he used to say that it's there is such a thing as good trouble, and if you see something, say something, to get involved and don't be complicit when you see something wrong happening in society. So June 17th, which is today, there are protests happening all over the country, and I actually see if they still have the DC one. Yeah, let me put this in the background so you can kind of see it. I'll have to mute it though, because it is loud. Let me get this here, share screen. So these protests, these peaceful protests that are happening.
Shit, she's gonna make me cry.
I'm gonna mute that. But basically, this is the 5th anniversary of John Lewis passing. He passed in 2020, and he was a longtime congressman from Georgia who participated in the iconic civil rights actions, like the march from Selma to Montgomery in 1965, where the police attacked him and other protesters on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So today there are over 1,600 events honoring this legacy of the late civil rights leader, and they're all part of this Good Trouble Lives On National Day of Action. And so the protests have to do with, this is kind of like a continuation of the No King's Day that happened, I think it was on June 14th. And let's see here. The protest demands include an end to the current administration's crackdown on civil rights, including the right to protest, voting rights, the targeting of Black and Brown Americans and immigrants and trans people, and also the slashing of social programs like Medicaid and SNAP, food stamps. So this is, and you can actually go to this website, goodtroubleliveson.org. And tonight at, I think it's 8 o'clock, they're going to have, let me see if I can, the one I'm showing you is here. The stream that I'm showing you is from there we go. That's a stream from Washington, D.C., the protests that were happening today. And I think this is live right now. But if you go to goodtroubleliveson.org, you'll come to this website and, just what I said about how we're facing the most brazen rollback of civil rights in generations, and whether you're outraged by the attacks on voting rights or the getting of essential services, the disappearances of our neighbors, or the assault on free speech and our right to protest, this movement is for you. So they're trying to divide us, and we are coming together because the power is in the people, right? So look at all these protests that are happening. These are over 1,600 protests all around the country. And there's Congressman Lewis. And so you can find out about this. There are several videos and things. And they actually, at, like I said, 8 o'clock, they're doing a live stream from them. So stop sharing that. And, the other thing that, if you're not feeling like being, part of these events, you can just watch them online and just participate in that way, educate yourself. The more people that are involved, the better. Share it with people, let them know. But the other thing you can do is like meditate, right? And I've been advocating what Pam Gregory she's an astrologer from the UK, has been recommending. On Sundays, she started on Sundays at 2 o'clock Eastern time for just 15 minutes to send love and light to the planet. And then she changed that she added every day as well. So at 2 o'clock Eastern time for 15 minutes, set your timer, and you don't have to do anything special, but meditate and send love and light to the planet, connect with all the other people that are doing that. And just doing that energetic bit really makes a difference. So, I really believe in spiritual activism generally, peaceful activism, and spiritual activism, because that is even, I think, more powerful, and even sending love and light to the people that are protesting in protection, because, they're standing up for us. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. All right, so now it's time to talk about the Oracle of the Month. And the oracle that we just started working with last week is the Sisterhood of the Seers Oracle by Athena Laz. And let me go ahead and add my extra camera so you can see the deck. So that's what it looks like in the front of the box. Inside, she says, "For my sisters, may you be seen." So I just only started working with this deck last week. And let's ask, on this day of good trouble, what is it that Spirit wants us to know as, human family, as an American family? What is it that Spirit wants us to know? All right. And the card I'm getting is 39. Grace is activated in your life. Grace is activated in your life. So one of the reasons I do these oracles, so you can see how easy it is to kind of like basically pick up a cell phone and talk to the universe or your higher power, however you want to see it, and get messages. If you ask for with a sincere heart, you get the answers. So it's a matter of really of trusting. So here's the message from the book. The essential meaning is second chances are available to you. You are at a turning point, rebirth and regeneration, all is well. Overflowing goodness, a high vibration, and rising to the occasion. The message: this is a wonderful time for you. Therefore, activating a state of grace in your life. This means that second chances and/or wonderful opportunities will arise, seemingly out of nowhere. Enjoy this period of grace and rise to the occasion. You must believe that you are deserving of this good. So that you can allow life to organically take you to the place that you've been asking for. Continue to remain open and show up, and before you know it, you're all blooming. Remember to be gentle with yourself, but remain alert and awake. Don't lose sight of this opportunity for rebirth. Show up fully and allow this period of alignment and regeneration to create a wonderful new vista for you in your life. This means allowing it to arrive. Equally, if you are experiencing any moments of self doubt or sabotage, then reach out and get support so that you can make the most of this opportunity. Your life becomes what you repetitively focus on. So focus on where you want to be. Let go of the past and allow this new wave of opportunity to change your life. Life believes you are ready. Lastly, give thanks for this graceful intervention where it feels like miracles are abounding in your life. A miracle is just one thought away. So the contemplation question is, how can I honor this time in my life? So I think this is really appropriate considering we are on the eve of Mercury retrograde, that time to kind of like rebirth ourselves, really regroup and get ready for the next uh, time of movement. So yeah, that is the message today. Now it says for more insight, see card 38. And this was when it said this means allowing it to arrive. For more insight, see card 38. So let's see what card 38 says. Card 38 says sacred courage. Essential meaning, knowing you can do it, bringing light to your fears, quantum leap, taking a chance, opening up to new levels of experience and new life. The message: life has brought you to a wonderful place, but this situation requires that you leap into your brightly lit future. You may not feel ready, but spirit believes in you and your soul is ready to soar. Release any fears and then take this quantum leap. Much like any pivotal moment in your life where you were slightly unsure of what was coming next, you always have made it through and even thrived. Fear is a natural response to not knowing what is coming next, but the unknown need uh, the unknown need not be frightening to you in this situation. The unknown in this scenario will likely provide you with untold treasures that you can't even fully understand yet. The opportunity is here and the time is now, and the time now calls for courage. So take a moment or two as you need, and then jump into this new adventure calling your name. Don't overthink things because you may miss the opportunity. And remember, this would not come to you if you were not ready on some level. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a canyon. On the other side of it, the very life you are leaping toward. But like any quantum leap, you cannot do it in small, comfortable steps. You must do it in one swoop movement. Imagine taking this leap and seeing yourself succeeding. You can make it. Play the image of yourself succeeding over and over again in your mind until you summon enough courage to actually leap into the unknown. The mystery will catch you. Believe. And the contemplation question is, what would happen if I let myself succeed? So, yeah, this is a time of, courage. And when we are presented new opportunities, we have to kind of match our vibration to that, because if we don't, we won't accept it. We have to, and this will actually be very close to our tip for today to raise our vibration, is to kind of see ourselves, what we want, focus on what we want. That's basically the message. So, if you like this deck, you can actually get it at my Amazon store. And the way you go to that is going to good-vibes.tv, and you'll be able to see it there. Okay, so next up, I wanted to share a little bit about the longevity with light. We did that, so was it last week? Time is just merging together. But yeah, on Thursday, we had Dr. Jennifer Smith. She's a doctor of naturopathy, and she talked about the glutathione lifewave patch. And you can actually see not only that episode, but all the other ones since the beginning of the year at this playlist, tinyurl.com/longevity playlist with a capital L. Okay, so next up is our tip of the week to raise your vibration. So last week's tip was a little bit extensive. And it had to do with writing a letting go list because it was the full moon, and a manifestation or gratitude list, and then burn them during the full moon. So did you do this? And if you did, what results did you get? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And I am finishing my, it was a tough day because a lot of times I'm pulling together the information for these episodes, trying to make it as fresh and new and current as possible. So that is what I was doing. And so this tip of the week is to focus, show you. There we go. Whoops. Tip of the week is to focus on what you want. You know, so many times and just like this card was talking about, seeing what you want on the other side of the canyon. And instead of focusing on, oh, I can't do it, or, baby steps to get there, it's like you have to connect and vibrate to the thing that it is that you want. So if say you want to do a podcast and you've wanted to do it for many years, but you're afraid, you lack the courage, you have to match yourself to that level of seeing yourself doing it so that you can step into it. So focusing on what you want, and really visualizing it. So if you're in meditation, or you could journal it out, I like to call it a treatment, where the end result of what you want, you write it out. The qualities of the thing that it is you want, the perfect career, or the perfect health, or the perfect relationship, and just really write that out and be clear about what it is that you want. What we focus on is what we end up bringing into our lives. So that is the tip of the week to raise your vibration. Okay, well, I know there was a lot that I shared with you today, and hopefully it was informative and helpful for what's going on. And so if you've enjoyed this episode, I want to ask you to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone that you feel would benefit from this information. And so I want to thank you for watching and wish you the best week, and I will see you next week. So until next time, keep raising your vibration so that you can thrive. Peace out, everyone.